Welcome to the Inside Texas Football YouTube channel powered by InsideTexas.com. It is a Saturday roundtable. We are 98 days away from kickoff, but we got some more off the field things to talk about. But make sure you like this video, subscribe to our channel. We are on our way to 8,000 subscribers. And since we're 98 days away, help us get to 9,800. We're going to aim high. Also, head to InsideTexas.com, use the promo code IT1. Get 2 months of Inside Texas access for just $1. Today is May 25th. That'll get you through July 25th. And we cannot wait to talk about all the different recruiting things that are going to be coming down the pike. Today on Saturday Roundtable, we're going to talk a little bit about the House versus NCAA case. A lot of news has gone down in recent days about that. We're also going to talk about 4 freshmen who plan to enroll right as the calendar turns to May. So, Justin, kind of a little curious about what you know about the House case. To me, as far as I can tell, it's the NCAA taking another loss, not as big of one as they could have if they fought it in court, but something that is moving the whole college athletic landscape into a revenue sharing area.
That's what it is. And if that's not a professional model, I don't know what is. Didn't Jim Harbaugh tell us this was going to happen? Don't we need to owe him? I think that he deserves some apologies and some flowers because he saw this coming. It's been what, 2 years since the beginning of NIL, 2.5 maybe, and this is just the when you don't set all the rules, the ground rules early on, and people kind of go by their own rules and kind of the wild west. This is the kind of stuff that happens. It's always full circle, and it comes around to bite you. And so I feel like this is something. It's not done. I think this is just something that's just going to continue to press on because I know now they want to go to Congress with it and see how that rolls. I really don't like the idea of government hanging out in college sports. Maybe that's just me. I'm not a big politico, as you guys know, but I really don't want the government having anything to do with my college football. And so, I do know a couple of our buddies that might be getting a paycheck here in the next few months, which I think that's pretty cool. But this is just another step of a ladder that's 20 steps higher. And I think they're just checking off each time they go.
You know, you can look over on On3, Pete Nakos, Eric Prisbell, all the guys who are with the On3 NIL vertical. They've done a great job of reporting a bunch of different aspects about this case. I think any big college football newsbreaker writer has kind of been on this case. And, you know, there are a lot of different details about, you know, how big the settlement is and what it means for former athletes who played between like 2016 and the beginning of NIL. But I think the long story short, and I think what our viewers want to know is Texas going to be okay? And when you are the most, when your athletic department produces the most revenue, also produces a lot of expenses, but is able to bring home a lot of money, you figure out how to do this. And a lot of the figures thrown out I've seen include like a $22 million per year revenue distribution model. That's still a significant sum of money. And there are a lot of athletic departments, even among the Power Five, that are going to struggle to do that on a yearly basis. But I feel like Texas, as it pertains to all this house stuff, especially now that they're heading to the SEC, getting some larger payouts, they're going to be in good shape. But one thing that's interesting, and Charlie, I'm going to throw it to you on this, is that this doesn't get rid of NIL. You know, if there is a sort of, for lack of a better term, a salary cap that says if you're Texas, if you're LSU, if you're Oklahoma, if you're every member of the SEC, you have X amount of dollars to give to your football roster. That doesn't differentiate anybody. Everybody's got that, whether you're Texas or whether you're Vanderbilt. What is going to change and what keeps NIL important is the fact that collectives can come in and probably sweeten the pot at this point. And it seems like Texas is uniquely situated among Power 5 programs and even Power 2 programs to be able to thrive in that environment.
Yeah, definitely. And you look at it, I call it NFL Junior because that's what it's becoming, honestly. And you look at those guys who have like the big contracts who can pay and they get their endorsement deals. Well, Texas is probably going to get a ton of endorsement deals and be able to spread it amongst the wealth to get the best players in the country, right? So it's almost the rich get richer type of deal, honestly, which is a good thing for Texas. But I feel like it'll play out exactly just like that. You know, you're the Texas like the New York Yankees. You probably got unlimited. I'm going to go out and buy the best and get the best. And uh, that's just part of the deal. And I think some of the Group of Five schools may really struggle. Some of the lower Power Four, you want to say Power Four now instead of Power Five schools, may struggle to kind of compete and be able to do that. But those schools in the SEC and the Big Ten will be okay. And I think I don't know. I know we talked about this maybe some shows back. Do they eventually like break away and just have their own league because of stuff like this?
Yeah, and you know what? Some of the other reading on this, the elimination of scholarship no cap going above the 85. If that doesn't say wild wild west of the 60s and 70s and early 80s, I don't know what does. You eliminate scholarship caps, man. That you talk about rich get richer. That's what when coach said that, that's the first thing that popped in my mind. I'm thinking if you do that, then that's a major issue. I'm curious about your thoughts on that, Joe.
Yeah, it's one of the things that has obviously brought parity to college football. You know, Texas and even Oklahoma, and then I think the best case is Nebraska. They rose to college football prominence because they could sign all the best players. They could take so many players in a certain class and leave, kind of the scraps to the rest of college football. 85 helped to create some parity to where you couldn't sign this 70-person class, which I think was something in the bygone era that they could do. Now you get rid of the functional cap, I guess the de jure cap. Like,
Okay.
even though there's no 85 limit, people want playing time. People want the opportunity to develop. People want to go where they're going to be wanted. And so, okay, yeah, maybe you don't have to function under the 85, but at the same time, you're not going to find a lot of players more so than you do now who are going to go somewhere, be snatched up by one of the big programs, and then just sit all 5 years that they're able to be on a college roster. But it does allow programs, if they do get rid of the scholarship limit, and in football specifically, to go to 90, to go to 92, 93, maybe even reward some walk-ons, have more opportunities for Michael Taft's,
Yes.
Jet Bush's to get scholarships. It does allow for that. I don't know what effect that may have on like Ivy Leagues and academies and lower G5s, but it definitely helps Texas. And I think that just feeds into the overall point that all this is happening, and it's a seismic shift in how we view college athletics and how the NCAA manages things.
Yeah.
But Texas is still in a position to be able to succeed. They're able to pay these players. And it's not just football. They're going to be able to pay women's basketball, people like Rory Harmon,
Title IX
baseball,
is
people
involved. Yeah.
people like Max Ballou, all the different superstars that have been on that volleyball team, like, and the national champions at that. Like, Texas is going to be able to handle that. Other schools, who knows? Texas is going to be able to issue scholarships and have the means to get to 90, 95, 100 if they're able to draw that many players interested in being on a roster. But again, they're going to want to go where they can play. Not all schools can do that. So I think it's just it is a massive shift, but it's one massive shift that all the way from people to, Kevin Eltife, Jay Hartzell, and Chris Del Conte, they seem to be prepared for it. They seem to know that it's coming, and they will have obviously the money needed in order to manage it. I think there are a lot more details that need to get straightened out. Of course, the case has to be accepted in that California courtroom to where the settlement is approved by the judge.
Right.
But it's all of it to say, no matter where you read, no matter what detail you see, Texas is in a good position to be okay and to continue to thrive with whatever is happening. Before we talk a little bit about some of the or the non-early enrollees who will be on campus as the calendar turns from May to June, got to talk about Laura Baker. Laura Baker is a member of the elite Andy Allen team over with Keller Williams Realty here in Austin. Big time Longhorn fan, big time supporter of Inside Texas. Has obviously helped our friend Ian Boyd get out of the Great White North and head towards Texas. Helped with his home buying process. Laura Baker is who you need to go to for your real estate needs. Give her a call at 512-784-0505 or email her at Laura, Laura, at AndyAllenTeam.com. She's been a great supporter of Inside Texas, and we cannot thank her enough for helping with the Saturday Roundtable. Let's get to some on-field stuff. We talked a lot about Texas 2024 recruiting class, highlighted by guys like Colin Simmons, Ryan Wingo, Kobe Black, Brandon Baker. Texas has 4 guys from that class who did not enroll early. There's one headliner, kind of 2 guys who are working their way, have some years probably of seasoning to get through the system, and then a guy who is not heralded at all, but could be the first to start from that 2024 class. So let's go ahead, Justin, and go off the top. One of those guys is Santana Wilson. He is the son of former All-Pro safety and current Carolina Panthers executive Adrian Wilson, and his on-3 was extremely high on him, had him as a top 150 player in the country. And while he may not come in and compete for playing time right away, he seems like a player who's going to compete with some of those younger defensive backs, younger cornerbacks for the first among that second group here in his first semester on campus.
He might be the one that's not talked about enough, Joe. I mean, his tape is spectacular, and he does so many good things, from his footwork to his technique to just everything. He gets it. And I guess when your dad's an all-pro and works in football, that, some of that's going to rub off. And so I think Santana's a kid too that doesn't necessarily have to have immediate playing time, doesn't necessarily have to have reps. His dad's told him, you got to get there and earn it. You got to get there and work to get on the field. And I think that's going to be his mentality. I love his recruitment because it was easy. Once Texas got in the boat, he was in, he jumped in. There was no more fishing. There was no more visits. This guy was done. And so I think Santana's kind of the sleeper of this entire class. And not to mention, 4 are enrolling in June, early June. Only 4. That means 17 came in early. That's a sign of the times when we're only talking about 4 guys coming in June, or 18. We're talking about 4 guys when 18 of these dudes have already showed up. And so to me, I think that's the even bigger story. Usually in the past, we would always be eager for June 1st, June 2nd, because everyone would enroll, and it was moving day for everyone. Now, Texas is going to send a couple staffers down to the dorms to get the kids locked in, because most of this class is already playing football in Austin.
Of course, they are bringing in the transfers. We'll probably talk about those guys next week. Those are guys who are experienced with college football. Some of them are on their 3rd school, namely Bill Norton, Jermaine Lollet. I mean, even Tia Savea falls into that category. Silas Bolden, of course, this will be his 2nd school. But, Coach, when you think about these summer enrollees, and, of course, like we said, not all of them can enroll early. From Arizona, I think there are some state laws that make it very difficult to graduate early. But what are some of the big adjustments and some of the things that programs do within that first week on campus for some of these early enrollee guys, or late enrollee guys? Sorry.
Well, the good thing is they get to start install 1 over. I know they went through install 1 during the spring, but everybody gets to start over to install 1 again. It'll be install 1A. So those guys will get a chance to kind of learn exactly what everybody else is learning at the exact same time. Kids forget a lot. They learn a lot. And so during the summer, they'll be able to go through install 1A, 1B, then 2A, 2B, and kind of digest the playbook, just like the other guys had a chance in the spring. I think for those guys, you want to just what we call two-a-days. I know most teams don't have two-a-days anymore. These incoming guys, you want to catch up, do two-a-days, get some extra field work, get some extra film work, and really learn the playbook and really learn, what it is you need to be doing, learning your role. I think Santana Wilson will be able to approach it like a pro just because who his dad is. I think that gives him an advantage. He'll understand what it is to understand the playbook and what he needs to do in order to catch up and be able to play. The other guys, find somebody to attach to. if that's another freshman who enrolled early or a veteran who's been there, like Michael Tapp. If you're a DB, get with Michael Tapp. Go learn everything he knows, right? Or whatever your position is, get with those guys and learn. Get with the GAs, get with the interns and analysts, and just go through everything. I think since it's four, I think you have an opportunity to do that versus, back in the day where everybody would come in and freshmen would have their own practice away from veterans, right?
Good point.
Giving them a chance to learn things. So since it's only four, you have opportunity to really get with, different coaches and different staffers to learn and get yourself caught up. And I think that's the benefit of having only four.
We have a couple more, I guess, regular non-special teams players to go over. We have Nate Kibble from Humble Atascocita, part of a very deep run, again, as usual for
Yeah.
Atascocita. They only lost by 6 to North Shore. That was in the regional finals. So they were 2 games away, 2 wins
O-line
away.
U.
Pretty much, yeah, with Sam Cosme and
Cam
Texas
Dewberry.
A&M. Cam Dewberry. Who am I thinking of?
There's
A&M.
others. There's
Texas
others.
A&M and the Texans. I should know this.
Kenyon Green.
There we go. So we got a couple. I mean, that's 3 right there. Nate Kibble hopes to be the next in that line, of course, following Cosme as a Longhorn. But another late enrollee, someone who seems interior, not seems, is interior all the way, and provides a little bit of meanness and some versatility maybe upon being a guy who trains at guard a lot, but maybe like a Cole Hudson could work out at center a little bit down the road too, right, Justin?
He absolutely. He was at the spring game on the 20 in late April, and I got to catch up with him a little bit, before the game, and he's another one where we just really enjoyed that recruitment. There wasn't a whole lot of drama, there wasn't a whole lot of mystery. Once Texas kind of focused in and made him a priority, he jumped in the boat, and he's a lot like Santana. Nate's the kind of kid that you bring him in and put him in the oven for 2 years. You don't have to eat right now. Let him cook. Let him marinate. Let him simmer. Let him get ready. Because in 2 years, his body's going to look different than it does now. And he has that disposition that O-linemen really need to thrive. He is that bulldog in the pit. He's the nicest, sweetest kid until he snaps his chin strap. Then he's a different dude. I think Kibble's a perfect kid for that development stage. I think he's a guard, just like you said. But he's excited. He's coming in. Him and his family were really, really happy to watch the spring game. And just think about it. This offensive line, they're about to put some more in the NFL in the 2025 draft and maybe even another one in 2026. That all goes to Kyle Flood and Kibble and those guys. They paid attention to that.
Along the same line, we always talk about how the further you are from the football, maybe the closer the easier it is to play early. And when you're talking about a guard or a center, or on the other side with someone like Melvin Hills, a defensive line take in the 2024 class, these are guys who are going to need a little bit of work. So, Coach, kind of in the same vein with Hills, who's going to be maybe a little bit, he's going to be an interior defensive lineman, could occupy a few different roles, may not be the zero technique that, you think Tavondre Sweat would fill at the next level and sometimes did at Texas. But Melvin Hills, Nate Kibble, these are guys that their focus this summer really needs to be, hey, get ready for the next 3 years because we're probably not going to need you this year.
Yeah, definitely. And it's a learning curve, not it's so much mentally, but physically and just from a strength standpoint. Like in the trenches, it gets it gets dirty. Man. You got to be strong. You got to understand, fighting off double teams, where guys are coming from, reading your keys. It moves a lot faster closer to the ball. So I think those guys just, like I said, give them time, give them a year, just to learn what to do. Let them get physically ready because you're not needed, and that's okay. Go ahead and double up on some classes and get ahead academically while you got a chance to. But give those guys a chance to redshirt, get physically ready. From the mental part, you can kind of get there, and then take all your opportunities on the scout team. Right, that's what I would do. As an incoming freshman, if I'm not going to play much, get on that scout team and impress the coaches. Show them what you can do, so they have something to work towards and work. Know what you can do in the next coming up season when they do need you.
Joe, we talked about Santana and Kibble and Melvin Hills, but it takes a punter to talk about a punter. They're like pitchers in baseball. They're their own creed, their own type of dude. Tell me about Michael Kern and how quickly he might need to get ready to play. Out of all these guys, Michael Kern might be a one that actually sees the field before the others.
I think in mid-April and even into the very earliest parts of May, we were thinking, okay, they're looking for, defensive tackle and defensive tackle, and Terrence Brooks enters the portal. It's like, okay, they're looking for a corner. Another spot we were thinking about was they may be looking for a punter. You like what you have with Will Stone doing kickoffs. You like what you got with Bert Auburn as your kicker, one of the better ones probably in the country. But you just lost Ryan Sanborn
Right.
to his undrafted free agent deal. So now you're trying to maybe kick around for a punter. Texas didn't go that route. They signed Michael Kern out of St. Thomas Aquinas in Fort Lauderdale, one of the strongest
Powerhouse.
high school programs in the country. And they could have gone and got somebody. They could have brought somebody in or tried, but they didn't. They didn't seem to make much of an effort for one. They obviously did not bring one in. And now that means that scholarship-wise, there is one punter on the roster, and it is Michael Kern. That tells me all I really need to know about their confidence. And yeah, there are times when you may be a little bit concerned about a freshman and who is catching the ball and has focus on him from 21 other people on a given play. But as long as he can boot it, I think they'll be confident in him. It's a spot he's got to earn. It's a spot that you can build confidence in, or you can quickly lose confidence in, depending what you do on the practice field, because we all have heard that story about Michael Dixon, who's a multi-time All-Pro, won the Ray Guy Award. One of his first punts out of practice, an open practice, just veered way off onto Red River Street. So a lot,
Attendance.
yeah, and it's like, oh, this guy's punting, and then that guy goes and wins a bowl game MVP award. So not saying that's what's going to happen to
And he
Kern.
might have the richest contract for a punter in NFL history.
He's getting paid to kick balls better than anybody else, maybe except for someone like Justin Tucker or Harrison Butker or anybody else in that league is doing. So not to give Levy those type of expectations onto Kern, but the fact that they didn't go and get somebody, another Sanborn, something like that. They had Sanborn last year. They knew they needed to stop over till Kern got there, and now they have enough confidence in Kern to go ahead and take that spot. Hopefully this is the most in-depth analysis we give on Michael Kern for, another few years till we're talking about his undrafted free agent or a fake punt that works out well, or else, maybe they'll be searching again soon. But another guy who's going to show up, I remember writing, he showed up to all the events and was part of it. Good teammate, good member of the class, and going to have an opportunity come the fall to
If you're
make a little
from
bit of an
St.
impact.
Thomas Aquinas, you've got some athleticism. That's just the way that is. And even if you weren't born with it, I guarantee some of it may have rubbed off on you. So Michael Kern, I love that they didn't go to the portal. They're going to trust in that guy. Jeff Banks, I'm not questioning him when it comes to special teams. The third phase of the game, as important as the first and second, Jeff Banks, Michael Kern, all from the punter himself, Joe Cook.
And someone who deserves some credit, flies under the radar, but I know that Texas believes strongly in him. It's Jeff Crosby, who is the quality control or their analyst that works with the specialists. Jeff Banks recruits those guys. He cares a lot. You never see somebody celebrate a ball down inside the 10 like you see Jeff Banks, but Jeff Crosby is one of those guys who helps the kickers and punters and even the long snappers with like the intricate part, because Jeff Banks has to help his tight ends during practice. Kickers are on their own a lot. Crosby helps out in the ways that he can, and is a big part of Texas' success. Gentlemen, another great Saturday roundtable. Of course, we got to thank Laura Baker one more time, elite Andy Allen team, for all your real estate needs in Austin. Give her a call at 512-784-0505. Of course, like this video, subscribe to the channel. We are 98 days away, which means that Will Gallagher probably has another great picture of the day up on the Inside Texas message boards. How do you go see it? Go check out InsideTexas.com. Use the promo code IT1. That'll get you 2 months of access for just $1. It is May 25th. That'll be July 25th. I bet by that point, if this is anything like years past, not only will there be commitments, remember, that's when they have that end of summer recruiting event when the dead period lifts at the end of July. So you're going to want to know the pool party. Zion Williams is going to have a feast if he is in attendance there, just because we know Pluckers does it big on that type of day.
And we can't let him get in the pool for 20 to 30 minutes because of cramps. I was
Oh, man.
raised, you cannot get in a swimming pool for 20 to 30 minutes after eating. And when he knocks out 8,000 calories in a setting, we've got to watch Zion.
Thank you for watching this. Thank you for watching the Inside Texas Football YouTube channel. We'll see you next time.